What is up, guys? Gamer Dude back once again to bring you some more Just the Facts. No, I'm not J. Jonah Jameson, I just like the Just the Facts saying. So, first things first, shout out to all my subscribers. I want to thank you all so much for the support, likes and views. Really appreciated. Major shout out to Blazing710420, Eric Dawson, Damian Bartlett, Direct Virus. I will feature any more shout outs in the description. So today, as you can tell by the title of the video, I'm bringing you some information about Days Gone. Now, this is a game that we've all been, well, I've been looking forward to, and we've been hearing about since early or late 2015, mid 2016. When it was first announced, it was supposed to drop within that year. Now, it's been pushed back so many times that I just seem to think, what's the point? Because it was due for release in February of next year after its many pushbacks, and it now appears it's been pushed back yet again. So it seems that because it was supposed to be released in February, and it seems because February is a crowded month for video games, Sony have decided to push it back. Not only in February are we getting BioWare's Anthem, we're getting Metro Exodus and Crackdown 3. They're also set to launch, and that's within a 2-week window. As I said, the Days Gone was supposed to launch in February, but they've pushed it back. As we know, it would have players taking on hordes of zombies, infested USA, traversing, parkouring, things like that. Basically, it is a carbon copy of The Last of Us. It's just a different take on things, you know, like how you can use motorbikes and traps on your environment, things like that. So initially, they announced the game at E3 again this year, and they said it was definitely coming out on the 29th of February. But it has now been pushed back again until the 26th of April. Because they've said, given how stacked February is, it seems like the best move for Days Gone. I'm thinking they're doing this because of The Last of Us 2 as well. Like, they don't want to take too much attention away from The Last of Us 2, because if there's two zombie AAA titles within the same month, then people are going to start getting a bit confused as to what they should be playing or what they should be buying, and both are actually PlayStation exclusives as well. So it would seem a bit, you know, it would seem a bit contradictory for them to release them in the same month, I suppose. Previews have already indicated that it isn't quite up to par with some of Sony's other blockbuster games this generation, say Spider-Man for example. And they've said launching in this time frame would kind of hurt sales. As I've said, that probably comes down to The Last of Us 2 and everything else that's stacked in February. With them pushing it to April, it does appear that it's a quieter month for AAA titles. It doesn't seem like there's much coming out in April. So, yes, we'll have to wait another 2 months for it. But who cares? I mean, we've been waiting 3, maybe 4 years for this game now, and the hype for it is dead. The first time I ever saw that trailer, I was like, wow, this is the zombie game we've been waiting for. This is like Walking Dead, Dying Light, Last of Us, all mixed in and meshed together. Now, I can't stress enough how much we need another decent zombie game. Yes, I get The Last of Us 2's coming out, but we know this story because of the first Last of Us game. Same with Dying Light 2, we know the story because of the first game. We need kind of a fresh take on the zombie environment, and I think Days Gone is going to do that for us. But if they keep pushing it back and saying, oh yeah, it's definitely this month now, we've changed our mind, it's the month after, then there's going to be a lot of people saying, well, is it worth it? You know, you're going to charge $50 odd for this, is it really worth getting? So Sony confirmed that the title will be delayed in an article on Reddit and Twitter. but failed to provide their official explanation as to why. I'm not sure why they've said that, because they've clearly just stated that it was because of the really meshed up time frame in February. So let me know in the comments what you guys think about that. It's easy to speculate, however, that Days Gone will definitely release next year, because, as I said earlier in the video, we expected it to come on the first year it was announced, but obviously they postponed it, like they do with most games when it's announced within the first year, because of little tweaks and things, that the game's just not ready and they don't want to release an unfinished product, really. But saying here, because I'm reading an article back, Days Gone delayed to give way for The Last of Us Part 2, as I said earlier in the video. Zombie game enthusiasts have been looking forward to Days Gone ever since it was unveiled at E3 2016. So yes, that's about 2, maybe 3 years since we've been waiting for it. Where was I? Ah, yes. There is no official word on why Days Gone has been postponed so many times over the last few years. But as I've said, I'm guessing it's down to tweaks and changing the story a little bit, adding some more dialogue in maybe, tweaking a couple of glitches and bugs. We don't know, because if anyone's beta tested the game, it's been very hush hush, and all we've seen really are the trailers that Sony have released. So we do seem to think that it's down to The Last of Us 2. And as I said earlier as well, it would make a lot of sense, because they really don't want to put pressure on people to buy both of them, because they are both exclusives, as I've said, and again, as I've said, they are basically the same game meshed into one with a lot of other different aspects of zombie games. So it's really kind of cool, but I think they're wanting to push it back just to give people time to buy The Last of Us 2, play The Last of Us 2, finish The Last of Us 2, and then you've got Days Gone. Sorry guys. So Days Gone might not get the attention it deserves when it does release, because obviously it is going to be so close to The Last of Us Part 2. As The Last of Us continues to be a very popular game, the delay will likely be a good thing for Days Gone. I'm not sure if the delay over the last few years has been good, but I'm guessing this time around it's going to be good for it. Because really, they can't release 2 AAA titles with the same sort of background. It just wouldn't make any sense. So we've got a whole versus thing going on, I suppose, like Days Gone versus The Last of Us. It's like versus kind of thing. While both games feature characters who are trying to survive in a world overrun by the infected, there is a distinctive difference between the two games. I mean, yes, there's similarities like picking up resources and things like that, but in Days Gone, the action is much more intense with all the different parkouring. Yes, there's parkouring in The Last of Us, but not as intense as what we've seen in Days Gone. There's hundreds of zombies which are called freakers in Days Gone, tearing through landscapes, crushing hordes with giant logs and knocking down cranes and whatnot. But the most interesting gameplay that we saw for Days Gone was back in 2017, where they released that, I think it was a 10-minute trailer, where they did the 2 different mission levels, like the 2 different outcomes of it, like you go at night, this happens, you go during the day, that happens. So that's really cool as well, because it does give you the option to replay through it and do different things. So meanwhile, Last of Us 2. If it will follow the successful formula of the first game, sorry guys, we will be basically on an emotional roller coaster, which I'm guessing Days Gone is going to go the same way, because we're not just going to see this one guy traversing through an open world with nobody around. He's going to meet people that he knows, he's going to meet people that he cares about, and he's going to lose those people, much like The Last of Us. Because I don't know about you guys, but I seem to think that Joel is going to die in The Last of Us 2. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not one of those gamers that says this is happening, that's happening, deal with it. I just think that he's going to die. I think it's the best way for The Last of Us to go, purely and simply because they can carry on the story with Ellie. Sort of like Telltale's Walking Dead. They'll kill off Clementine, and now it's owned by Robert Kirkman. He could decide to continue the story with AJ. So, what do you guys think about the story about Days Gone being pushed back again? I mean, I've got a friend on PlayStation who was excited for it at the same time as I was. And as time's progressed and as more and more delays have been announced, he's just not bothered by it anymore. He just really can't be bothered with it. He doesn't think it's going to be all up to the hype. And to be honest, I might have to agree with him. I mean, as I've said, I've been looking forward to this game since it was first announced, but given the delays, there's not much we can do. I suppose we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, I will probably now, when it comes out, watch gameplay of it on YouTube before I actually buy it. And I didn't want to do that. It was one of those games where I just wanted to buy straight off the shop shelf. So, coming back to the point, everyone who thought they were anticipating, well, what they thought was the confirmed release date, we've now got to wait a couple more months before we can get our hands on this overhyped exclusive. I get that Sony are trying to be in the space race for the better games from Microsoft and Nintendo and whatnot, but postponing so many different games like Spider-Man PS4 for example, I am not going to complain. I'm glad they postponed it, but the fact is they announced it and said it was due for release so many different times over the past couple of E3s, and then it was delayed. Which again, I'm not complaining, because otherwise it wouldn't have been as good as it was. But I'm getting off topic. So as I've said earlier in the video, Days Gone is now going to release in April 2019, more specifically April 25th in 2019, and they have put in quotation marks, definitely this time. So they've said this time. So even they know that they've been postponing it so much. So it's giving the breathing space for any other AAA titles that are coming out in the first few months of the year. So January, February, March, because as we know, we've got a lot in February. There's Last of Us Part 2 coming out. I'm not sure what's coming out in January, but I've heard that's a busy month for games as well. So, given the postponement, it also means that it gives the developers time to basically just move around and tweak the game a little bit more, see if anything else needs doing with the game. Because I'm guessing the February release date they originally planned, they were just going to release it and then release any patch updates. Now they might not need to do that. Now they might just be able to release it complete. There'll still be a few bugs and glitches, yeah, but not as many as there would have been. Because they're not going to go back to the drawing board, obviously. They're just going to reopen the coding, so to speak, and just tweak a little bits, maybe add a bit of dialogue in or something different. So the original launch date would have fallen at the same time, as I've said, as Anthem, Metro, Exodus and Crackdown 3. So it's probably not a bad thing to give this game, Days Gone, its moment in the spotlight. Because if you're releasing a AAA title alongside several other AAA titles, then you're just asking for trouble. I mean, because as I've said earlier as well, you're just going to make gamers sort of confused as to what they're going to be playing that month. I mean, a lot of gamers like myself, if I buy a game, then I'll play it, fair enough, and then if there's another AAA game due out the next week after or something, I will wait to get it, mostly because I'm a cheap ass and I want it to drop down in price, but That's not the point. The only reason I do it is because I don't want too much to do, because even if I get the first AAA game, I know there's going to be stuff that I've missed that I'm going to have to go back and play through it, and that could take a few months, which is why I wait, so I can just play through that, finish it completely, collect everything completely, maybe platinum the game, and then move on to the next one. So Band Studio, the developers of the Days Gone game, have stated that, and this is a direct quote as well, they want to take the opportunity to further polish Days Gone for the following post-apocalyptic title, one that we're not meant to call a zombie title, which I don't really see why, because we all saw that zombie bear thing standing up. Fair enough. The game was point due to release back in 2017, then pushed to 2018, then pushed to 2019. All I seem to be coming back to in this video is just how many times the game's being postponed. I mean, yeah, do let me know in the comments what you guys think. Don't hesitate to share your thoughts and views. I mean, this is a discussion video, so all comments are welcomed. Just keep it within reason, guys. You know, no swearing, no going off on one, things like that. But as it turns out, there's still no pre-orders for the game yet. You can't actually pre-order Days Gone yet. They did release pre-orders a while ago, and then they cancelled them because it was postponed, and then they released them again, and then it was cancelled again because they postponed it again, and this time they just haven't bothered to say, oh, you can pre-order it now. But at least there's a couple of months delay between all those decent games in February and The Last of Us 2. Because I, for one, don't want to be switching between Last of Us 2 and Days Gone. As I've stated, I'm going to be wanting to get The Last of Us first, play through all that, get all the collectibles, whatever collectibles might be in it. Maybe different outcomes and choices in the missions or something. I don't know where The Last of Us 2 is going with that. And then move on to Days Gone, so it'll probably be another few months before I actually get it. So I think I've covered everything I need to cover in this video. So I want to thank you all so much for your support and views over the last few weeks. I am now up to 716 subscribers, so thank you so much, guys. Do appreciate that. Shout outs to recent subscribers. That would be Connor Ryland, Frank Vega, and Killzone88. They're the most recent subscribers within the last 12 hours. So thank you so much, guys. Appreciate you stopping by and viewing my content. Do stay tuned tonight as well, because I have another Batman Arkham Asylum livestream planned. I realise these games are old now, that the Arkham games are old and everyone's probably seen everything they have to offer. But I'm doing it purely and simply for the sake of Rocksteady's potentially upcoming next Batman game. So that being said, I want to thank you all so much again for tuning in. This has been Gamer Dude. Happy gaming, and I will catch you all real soon.